Good evening, everybody. Today, we welcome you all, green friends, to an enlightening session on Sustainability Summit 53. Before we begin with our session, I'd like to give a warm welcome to our EduFam Director, Dr. Halima Saadia, and our keynote speaker, Dr. R. Zahira, and all the green ambassadors who are present here and green warriors and friends. We welcome you on the platform. So before we begin with the global conference, which is a brief up of the oncoming conference in Singapore, I'd like to talk about EduFam International Academy, which is a UAE-based institution dedicated to empowering educators and learners through leadership training. Now, this sustainability-focused educational forum prepares us for a lot of academic upliftment. There are lots of courses which EduFam is conducting. And one of the most interesting thing which is coming up is the Singapore conference. So I think today evening is going to be a lot about AI, ML for sustainable future. And before, again, going up to the Singapore conference, I'd like to give a brief up about our speaker. One of the speaker is Dr. Halima Saadia. Dr. Halima Saadia is a passionate educationist, and she's a leadership coach who empowers mind to lead with purpose. The director of EduFam International Academy. This is a Dubai-based company, as I already told before. She guides thousands of students and educators. She has got an impactful work in leadership training and continues to inspire growth and confidence and positive change through her transformative coaching and vision for education. I have been a mentor who has been trained for the leadership program. That was my first association with ma'am. So I welcome Dr. Halima Saadia once more. So before we start off, I'd like to talk about Dr. R. Zahira. Today evening, we are having a keynote speaker who is an expert in AI ML, and she has a vast experience. She is an associate professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, BSA Crescent Institute. She is an academic leader with expertise in EEE and is committed to teaching, research, and mentoring the next generation of engineers. With this, I would like to give the honor to our keynote speaker, Dr. R. Zahira. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Hina, for your brief introduction. So, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. So, we are going to start a keynote session. So, I'll just give. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, good evening. I am Dr. R. Zahira, Associate Professor from B.S. Abdul Rahman Crescent Institute of Science and Technology. And I am also the head of IGEN Energy 99 Challenge, which is taken care by Institute of Green Engineers. So, today for a Sustainable Summit 53, I'm going to present a topic from wires to wisdom. Since I'm an expert in electric and electronic engineering, and also my background is from power system. So we are going to see how the energy is transformed from electrical engineering, and then we have converted to renewable, and then nowadays we are moving forward to the smart grids. So, so we are going to harvest the artificial intelligence for sustainable and reliable grids. So we are all moving on towards the sustainable development goals. We are having 17 goals, in which most of the goals are covering our sustainability with the green energy and clean energy. So first we'll start with how the centralized generation of electricity in the olden days, that is traditional method. So we'll be having a normal substations and generating stations. We'll be having a transmission line, either AC or DC. But if we go with this traditional method, the drawback will be we will be having air pollutions and emissions, and then we will have to use large amount of land. So wastage of land is there, and also we have to invest in the land, and then generation will be wasted even if it is not in use during the peak demand or off peak demand. We have to on our traditional grids and also we have to use the water discharge for hydropower plants. So when we have a drawbacks, so in the decades we have shifted to modern trends, that is distributed energy resources. So with the help of renewable resources like solar, wind, we have converted most of the conventional grid to non-conventional or non-renewable renewable systems. So we are having a rooftop solars and wind farms. So with this solar and wind farms, we can form a microgrids so that the transmission line cost will be reduced. Instead of transmitting a long transmission for 500 or 200-kilometer lines, we can go for a microgrid with 10-kilometer or 20-kilometer line, and we can distribute for a community. And also we can have energy backups with this. If it is a microgrid, we can have a small energy backups and we can use it in the peak demands. And nowadays electric vehicles is also coming booming in the system. So for that EV, we again need a power system for a charging stations. So we have to move on with the electrical power system. So this rapid changes taken place in the power system. Initially we had a hydropower plant, thermal power plant, and then we have moved on to the wind, solar. So all this system will be connected as a AC system to the grid, and we are going to save in the battery and use it for the peak demand. So we are also having the flexible loads, so in which we have both types of transmissions. So we can go with a bidirectional flow. By generating the rooftop solar batteries, we can distribute to the grid, and also from grid we can take it to the load. And non-centralized controllers, we can have a demand response, distributed or decentralized, and then we can also have off and on grid setups. So if it is a rural areas, we can go for off grid system, and if it is a urbanized area, we can go for on and off grid system. So either we can use our microgrid or we can generate power and distribute to the grid. So here comes to the conception of energy sector. By 2013, we have a commercial, industrial, and residential loads. So each sector is having a different types of loads. So if we take a transportation system, so commercial transportation system is only 0.2 percentage, and we are having commercial load of 35 percentage, residential load of 37 percentage, and industrial load of 27 percentage. So in which the commercial loads are using appliances and electronics, we are going for high voltage AC transmission, lighting systems, and water heaters. And then when you come for residential equipments, we are going with again appliances, water heater. So percentage of commercial and residential may vary. So when you are going for commercial, we are going to use only 16 percentage of electrical appliances, but when you are going for a residential purpose, we are going to use 29 percentage of our electrical loads. And when coming for water heaters, when we coming for electrical residential thing, we are going for 10 percentage, but commercial thing we are going only for 2 percentage. And also lightning, it is varying from commercial and residential. But when you are going for manufacturing industry, the major part is taken only by the machine drives. So 50 percentage of our electricity consumed by machine drives, and then direct users and other processes will be taking care of 29 percentage, and all the total net process will be taken care by 17 percentage. So this is a statistical data taken from energy consumer. And then when we are going for a renewable energy, we have to go for a storage capacities. So as per United States, we are having a 25 gigawatts of energy storage, in which 94 percentage will be from the pumped hydro storage and 6 percentage with the others. So that 6 percentage will be by thermal storage, which is having a capacity to store nearly 670 megawatts, and battery, which is having a 733 megawatts, and also with the compressed air and flywheels, we are having a minimal amount of storage system. So altogether it will be only 6 percentage when compared to the pumped hydro storage system. So all this should be managed with the AI. We cannot able to manage manually. So till now we are managing manually, but nowadays we are moving on to the AI. We are having advanced technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning. We can able to train our data, and we can able to monitor the data with the help of IoTs, and we can save the data and grab the data from clouds and big data analysis. So this is a change of power system. So initial power system we had like this, just we had a manual connection, and nowadays we are moving on to the smart grids, so which is controlled with the AI. So it is acting as a brain of all the systems. So we can control the transmission, distribution, renewable energy, loads, whatever the demands, the peak season, off peak season, we can able to control in a single point. So why this AI becomes essential? So we have to manage and optimize the distributed generation and as well as storage. So we have to check when will be the peak demand available with the solar system and when will be the windy season to utilize our wind energy system. And if both are available, we can go with the hybrid system. So we have to balance the local supply and demand automatically. So initial stages, we are going for the statistical data and load forecasting for 5 years, and we are manually operating the solar and wind. But nowadays we can go for AI and ML methods. We can have a tuned data for forecasting, and we can optimize the utilization so that the cost can be reduced by our prediction. So this AI prediction for energy generation from renewable energy resources will be very helpful when you are going for a particular tuning, and it ensures also the grid stability. So we have to maintain the grid stability. Whenever we are having a generation, we have to maintain the demand. If the demand is high or very low, this will make a instability in the system. So this AI transformation is very much needed for stabilizing our system. So it is used in the distributed and we are having a coordinated intelligent ecosystems. So move on it. So again, why it is needed for a power system? We are having AI in all the industries, but why it is needed in the power system? So we have to make a grid complexity and aging infrastructure. So with this help, we can reduce our complexity in the grid, and also the aging infrastructure can be done. We can move on to the renewable energy systems and rising demands. So since days we are using only the energy sectors for commercial and industrial, but nowadays we are moving on to the electric vehicles, and each and every component is needed with the supply. So we are having a rising demand, and also we need for a predictive maintenance. If the demand is keep on increasing but our generation is not maintained properly, and the distribution is also not maintained properly, it will create a instability, and we all facing a issue in the future. So in power system, we have to apply this AI to make it as a real-time optimization for forecasting the data and generation accurately, and we have to go for massive data from IoTs and smart meters. So nowadays we are not having smart meter, but in if you take India, we don't have any smart meters. We just have the electrical digital meters. So in future, in past 5 to 6 years, we have transformed from normal meters to digital meters, and I may think next 5 years we can move on to the smart metering, so that each and every house will have their meter in their hands, so that they can consume the energy with a precise limit, and they can also save energy. Saving energy is not only limited for the generation, it also useful for emission, carbon emission reduction. So we are going for mass production, and the mass production will definitely make a carbon emission, and also the fossil fuel are decaying. So if we have a optimized generation, we can also reduce our carbon emission, so we can have a better environmental safety. So again, next process will be detecting faults and cyber threats. So whatever the advancement is going, there will be a drawback. So whenever we are going digitalization, cyber threats will be there. So we have to optimize and detect the cyber threats, and we have to make AI strong. So these are the general public humanized AI system. So first system, we are having a EV. So EV data is taken in the mass data, and it is computed, and then we are having a security tools to maintain this data, humanized system data, and then to maintain this data we have to go for a standard policies and developments, and we have to monitor the standard policies and development. Each and every data should be monitored, and then it is given back to the input, so that we can have an interactive request both with the customers as well as the generation. And next, coming for AI in renewable energy integration. So power system, we are moving on to the renewable energy integration. So this renewable energy integration with the help of AI can predict the solar and wind generation using NMA algorithms, that is machine learning algorithms, to improve the grid stability. They can optimize the charging and discharging of energy storage system, and also they can forecast the renewable energy, helping the operators to schedule the conventional generation. So we cannot expect all the 24 by 7 and 365 days with the renewable energy. So there may be a fluctuation either in solar or wind. So we have to maintain our backup with the conventional energy system. So with this AI models, we can go with a proper prediction, and we can use a minimal amount of a conventional system rather going for 100% conventional system. And then moving on to grid, smart grid. So we had a grid and now we are having a smart grid. So initial stages will be manually using the sensor meters, and we are having a control rooms to detect it, and operator should go and operate or switch it on the manual feeders. But nowadays we are having a smart grid, and it should be monitored with AI system so that we can have a adaptive control for distributed resources. And then we can go for a real time monitoring and control in the hands. Even if the control room person is not there, with the digitalized process, each and every equipment may be monitored in the cell phone itself, and we can have a balanced automatic voltage regulation. Due to the fluctuations of load, we can miss the grid stability, so we can have a monitored and load balancing with the regulation. And this AI will have a self-healing network. So automatically, if there is any shortage of solar during the evening times, we can shift on to the conventional system. And if the demand is high, we can use it for the charging stations, or we can store it in the batteries. So for this, we can use this AI in the best manner. So for all this AI, so just an example, if I take a transformer, so in transformer, we are having many parts. So this predictive maintenance. So if you go with the core, winding, bushing, leakage, and tap changing and others. So nearly we are having 7 parameters in this transformer. So this transformers, if it is monitored properly, so life of transformer will also be increased, and also the maintenance, proper maintenance can be done, and the equipment failure can be identified in the pre stage itself, so that we can take it to the maintenance and we can have a proper fault identification. So with all these AI techniques for renewable and conventional and smart grid, we can go for the proper energy management. So all these are going for energy management. So AI will optimize the demand response strategy. It reduces the peak loads and energy costs. So how it is doing is, if we are going with the 24 by 7, we have to take the load sensors, and each and every home, which first we have to start with the consumers. So each and every home, whenever they are using demands, they can change or shift their timing based on the demand. If the peak demand is on the morning time, nearly industries will be working from 10 to 2, they are having a peak demand. So as customers can shift their demand in the off peak times, that is after 11 o'clock or night 12 o'clock, they can use their washing machines, and they can reduce their loads consumption. So it can be energy cost efficient. So and next we are moving on to the improvised microgrid operation. So here in India, we are having a solar incentives are given, so each and every home can be installed with solar, and this can be reduce the burden to the grid. And with the help of home energy managements, we can go for reduce energy bill, and also we can reduce our carbon footprints. So if you are having an energy consumption of 500 units per month, if we have a hand in smart metering, that was with the cell phones, we have a hand in smart metering for every hour. If we have like cell phone data, for each and every usage, we are having a GB reduction. If you are having a 2 GB data, for each and every usage, we will be having a 1.5 GB, 2 GB, or 1 GB. So based on that, we will automatically reduce our consumption in mobile phones. So same thing, if we have a hands-on meter, like whatever the energy consumption each and every hour, if we are getting the energy data in our hands, so it may be aware to the customers, so they may switch off all the lights. So they are nowadays the younger generation, or they are not switching off properly, and it is leading to the energy losses. So if each and every customer is having mobile phone with the energy management in the hands, so they can be aware and they can properly switch it off all the equipment. So each and every unit will save the energy, and each and every saved energy will reduce the carbon footprints, as well as the advantages, they can also reduce their energy bills. So next we are moving on to the load forecasting. So load forecasting is the major issue which we have faced from the past decades. So initial stages, we have conventional grid. So with the help of conventional grids, we have done some forecasting, and we have moved to renewable energy. But even then, the demand is not reduced. We are moving on to the major electrical equipment. Due to the advancement, we are using all the electrical equipments. Like if you are having a one AC in the house, nowadays we are having 2 to 3 ACs in the house. And also we are moving on to EVs. So each and every house in future may have 2 to 3 electric vehicles. So all this will give burden to the electrical grid. So we have to properly maintain and forecast the grid. So with the help of forecasting, we will be having a proper energy generation as well as we can maintain the demand. So for this, we can go for a short term, mid term, or long term demand forecasting with the help of AI and MLs, and we can support EV integration by forecasting the charging patterns. So instead of charging our electric vehicles in the peak times, again we can shift to the charging by the night times. So in the night, 2 o'clock or midnight, 1 o'clock, we can go for a charging system so that the demand may be equal. So we have to maintain the base load as well as the peak load. Instead of making a peak load high, we can make it as a normalized peak loads so that your grid may be stable. So it will also enhance the grid reliability and efficient dispatch of resources may be done. So then coming to the protection, for all the things we need some protection. So if we are going with the forecasting and smart grid and renewable energy, so if there is no protection, then it will not properly maintain the equipments. So we have to maintain the AI assisted fault classification, detection and isolation. So proper isolation will be safe for all the equipment. If there is any fault in the customer end, if there is not proper isolation, it will come to the grid with the help of a distribution system and then transmission line. All the equipment will get affected. So proper isolation should be made for each and every equipment, and then we have to maintain the relay operation, and it will have a proper and reduced missed operation when you're going for proper AI detection. And then the protection comes with also cyber security. So if there is any abnormality or attacks in the grid found, we have to isolate that grid and we have to detect what is the fault is. So for all this, we can use the AI and ML methods for a sustainable future. And then coming to the EVs. So when you are having a n number of EVs, so nowadays we are having a V2V charging, vehicle to vehicle charging, vehicle to grid charging, as well as grid to vehicle charging, or vehicle to X, V2X, that is V to everything. We can charge with a single electric vehicle. Instead of using batteries, we can use our electric vehicle as a battery stores in the off peak demand whenever is the power failure or peak demand is there. And if the EV car is not used for 1 week, we can utilize that power properly for charging the system. Or else if a car is traveling for a long distance and there is no charging station in between, that is if you are having a 50-kilometer radius, if there is no charging station, each car may help. So each car may pool their charging system and they may charge the system. So this all may happen only with the help of IoTs and artificial intelligence and machine learning. So without this, we cannot have a pooling of a charging station. So for all this, we need this artificial intelligence. So what is that is the advancement made here. And even if there is a charging station nearby 5 kilometer, for 5 kilometer, if you need the charging vehicle, so we can consume the charge from other vehicle, or we can have a battery backups for just for 5 kilometers, and then we can go for a proper charging station and we can charge the vehicle. So it can be a bidirectional, and there can be energy trading phase. So for example, if we take 5 electric vehicles, so they are the buyers for electric charge. If there is a charging station, or if there is a selling of EV batteries. So just assume this case, you are having a 4 to 5 electric vehicles which are seeking for a charging station. This charging station will be having a bit, that is they can charge this CS1 charging station 1 may charge 10 rupees per unit, and this charging station 2 may charge 15 per unit. And maybe this sellers EV charging, when they are driving, they may charge only 2 rupees or 3 rupees per unit. So this bit can be used by these customers based on their utility. So this can also be made as energy trading system. So for all this allocation, we need a cloud. So cloud will be operated with the help of AI and MLs, with the help of IoT and sensors wherever the car is moving, whichever the nearest charging station, or whether the vehicle is having a nearest possible point. So when maybe a charging station is charging 5 rupees, but it may be 10 kilometers apart, we need urgent charging station for our battery, charge for a battery. EV1 may need urgent charge for a battery. It may go only for 1 kilometer. So even if the charge is high, they can pull from EV3. Even if paying high, we can charge 1 or 2 units and we can move on to next 5 kilometer with the help of this charging, so that the uninterruptible vehicle movement may be also there. And also the car owners may also get benefited with this. So next, coming on to the electrical smart homes. So the topic is since electrical system. So we have done the conventional system and then renewable system, and when we have seen the smart grid and how the forecasting may be preventing our generation as well as the demand, and how to protect our system. And then with the help of load, one of the load is the electric vehicle, and all the other loads which we are using in our customer end is a home. All the customers will having each and every equipment if it is monitored. So for example, this is the age generated image, so we can see the, if we are able to see this visibly, we are having only 82 percentage of charge for the system, and then we are having a Wi-Fi, washing machine. So each and every equipment, if it is censored, and we are having a proper usage as well as the demand, and if the AI can predict at what time we can switch on the equipments and how can we manage all this load. So it may be a major part for reducing our energy consumption. Even a small usage may reduce our energy consumption. So each home, if it is reducing 10 to 15 units per month, so it may be a major impact of our carbon reduction. So all these AI techniques used will be based on the different types of learning. So first we go with the supervised learning. So supervised learning is used for load generation and forecasting, and then deep learning methods. So deep learning methods. So this images. So these images can be replicated. So this is also a technology called digital twin technology. We can make our own equipment as a digital twin, and we can monitor it with the help of a digitization. Instead of having only metering, we can monitor this station with visually whatever the changes are there. We can visualize this in, instead of going to that space, and we can make it a recognition of patterns. And then unsupervised learning, so it can detect the faults in the power system. And then reinforcement learning, it can be used for control of energy storage and grid operations. So these are the different learning algorithms which may be adopted for each and every stage of electrical power system. So when you are going for AI, there are lots of benefits. We can go for a safer operation by detecting properly. We can go for a safer operation, and by having a proper detection of demand, we can reduce the generation cost so that our cost may be reduced, and we can improve efficiency by properly detecting the faults and proper usage of equipments. And for all this, we have to maintain the policies. So we have to maintain the standard and policies framed by each and every government from their nation, and then we can have an enhanced visibility and control. So whatever the advantage are there and whatever the advancement we are moving, there will be a drawback. Definitely there will be a drawback whenever we are moving on, but we have to make this drawback with the challenges with the positive side, and we have to rectify it with the researchers. So first drawback will be the data privacy. So we all making our data public, so it is all saved in the servers, and all the data will be centralized. So they may be a threat for cyber security or data privacy. So grid data may be very sensitive. If there is any change in data or any leakage in data, it may collapse all the grid. So that is one of the challenge. We have to make it a proper cyber secured data. And then coming for data quality, so AI needs a pure high resolution data to give a proper output. So if there is a distorted data, if there is any sensors failures are there, and if there is any miscommunication is taking place, since it is not human, it is just a AI, so it may create a fault. So if there is any fault, the quality of data is affected, and it will be giving a improper data. And then integration complexity. So whenever there is the integration of original data with AI, it may create some complexity. So we have to go with the trust and explainability when you are going for this AI. So advancement in this. So thank you. If there is any query, you can proceed.
Wow, such a
Wonderful.
wonderful session.
Yes, ma'am.
You all will agree with me, isn't it?
If there
Yes,
is any
ma'am.
query,
Yes,
Wonderful.
ma'am.
It
Ma'am,
was
you are
so informative.
yeah, you
Yes,
are
ma'am.
still on the screen sharing. Will you please stop sharing?
okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So we'll go for the question answers after the another speaker speech. Of course, we will have some queries because it was very, very informative.
I
Thank you.
think Dr. Halima Sadia is the next speaker.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So I've already given a brief up about Dr. Halima Sadia.